When a man is truly crazy about you, he may not always come right out and say it, but his actions, his habits, and even his psychology give him away. Love and attraction have this funny way of making men act differently, sometimes in subtle ways, sometimes in ways that feel impossible to ignore. If you've ever wondered how to tell when a man is not just interested but completely captivated by you, there are psychological tricks at play that reveal the depth of his feelings. These aren't games, they're subconscious patterns that show up when a man's emotions take over. Let's talk about 6 psychological tricks men use when they're crazy about you. When a man is completely taken by you, one of the most revealing psychological tricks that happens without him even knowing is mirroring. This isn't something he consciously plans out or decides to do. It's his subconscious mind driving him to create a deeper connection. When he mirrors you, what he's really doing is showing his brain's way of saying, I want to be on the same wavelength as you. So you might notice that he starts using the same phrases you use, picking up on your slang, or echoing your tone when you tell a story. If you cross your arms during a conversation, he may find himself crossing his arms a few moments later. If you laugh a certain way, you might catch him laughing in a rhythm that sounds just like yours. This is not him being fake or trying to mock you. This is biology at work. When we mirror, it's because our brain is signaling safety, trust, and desire for closeness. Think about how powerful that is. Without realizing it, he's letting his body and language say what words can't fully express. His subconscious is aligning with yours because attraction naturally pushes him to get closer, and mirroring is one of the clearest signs of that. Men who are crazy about someone don't just want to spend time with them, they want to feel like they're in sync, like they belong in the same rhythm of life. That's why he'll unconsciously adjust his body posture to match yours, why he'll lean in when you lean in, why his smile comes at the same time as yours. It's like his psychology is rehearsing harmony, showing you that he wants to be on your level. You might even notice it in the smallest habits. If you pick up your drink a certain way, he'll mirror it without realizing. If you tilt your head while listening, he might tilt his head too. And while it seems insignificant, these tiny reflections are loaded with meaning. They reveal that he is paying attention to you in ways he might not even realize himself. His focus sharpens when he's around you, so much so that his body language falls in line with yours. That's how deeply his feelings are running, and that's what makes this trick so fascinating. Psychologists say mirroring builds rapport and trust. But in the case of a man who is crazy about you, it's much more than rapport. It's his subconscious declaration that he wants to belong with you, that he feels a pull he can't resist. This pull pushes him to behave in ways that synchronize with you, almost like two dancers learning to move together naturally without ever being told the steps. And the more he feels for you, the more automatic and effortless the mirroring becomes. He doesn't even think twice about it. It just happens. Another layer to this is emotional mirroring. When you feel excitement, he feels it too, and he reflects it back. When you seem down, his energy lowers as well, because his mind and body are tethering themselves to your state. This isn't just empathy, it's connection at a level where he cannot separate how you feel from how he reacts. That's why you'll notice him celebrating your wins with genuine enthusiasm, or feeling restless when he sees you stressed. He's not trying to put on a show, it's his subconscious syncing with yours in the most human way possible. What makes this so important to understand is that mirroring is rarely deliberate. If a man is only playing games or faking interest, his mirroring will look exaggerated, forced, or inconsistent. But when he's truly crazy about you, it flows naturally. It's soft, subtle, sometimes barely noticeable unless you're really paying attention. And yet these subtle signs reveal his deepest desire to feel closer, to create alignment, to make you feel that you are both speaking the same unspoken language. His psychology drives him to connect without words, and mirroring is one of the clearest windows into his attraction and his longing for you. When a man is deeply invested in you and can't get you out of his mind, one of the psychological tricks that naturally surfaces is his need to create exclusivity. It's not always obvious, and it doesn't always come in the form of bold declarations or direct claims, but it shows up in the subtle ways he positions himself differently from everyone else in your life. His subconscious is constantly searching for reassurance that he isn't just another person in your circle, but that he holds a unique place that nobody else can occupy. This often comes across in how he frames conversations, how he asks questions, or how he reacts when other people are mentioned around you. For example, he may make lighthearted jokes about being your favorite or tease you about remembering him more than others. These may seem playful on the surface, but beneath that humor is the psychological pull of wanting exclusivity, wanting to know that you see him as irreplaceable. When men are crazy about someone, their minds are wired to test the waters for signs of uniqueness. He wants to be the one you text back first, the one whose message you don't leave unread, the one whose opinion you value above others. You may notice him asking questions that are framed to highlight his importance, like comparing his role in your life to someone else's, or pointing out how much effort he puts in compared to others. It's not arrogance, it's psychology. His brain is seeking proof that his feelings and efforts are matched with recognition. He wants to know he matters to you in a way that is different from how anyone else matters. This exclusivity also shows itself in how he subtly distances you from distractions. If you're out with friends, he'll look for ways to separate moments where it's just the two of you, even in a crowded room. He might lean in closer when you talk, creating a private bubble that no one else is a part of, or he might make small gestures that are only meant for you to notice, like giving a glance, a smile, or a whispered comment that excludes everyone else around. These are unconscious moves to reinforce that the bond you share is special, that there is something about him and you that operates in a space no one else can touch. Even the way he talks about the future can hint at this drive for exclusivity. He'll use words that suggest a partnership, a duo, a sense of being set apart. He might say things like, "We should try this," or "That's our thing," creating a shared identity in small but meaningful ways. These little linguistic choices aren't accidental. They are psychological markers that his mind is forming a sense of us, not just you and him as separate individuals. When a man is truly crazy about you, this us mentality becomes a powerful motivator for his actions, and it's rooted in his deep desire to secure a place in your life that nobody else can occupy. It also comes out in protective or possessive instincts, not in an overbearing way, but in subtle cues that he wants to know where he stands compared to others. If another person shows interest in you, he may react by subtly drawing attention back to himself, either through humor, through showing his strengths, or simply by making his presence known more clearly. It's not competition for the sake of ego. It's competition driven by love and attraction. He wants exclusivity because it validates his feelings. It reassures him that his efforts are not in vain, and it proves that the bond he feels is not one-sided. The most telling part of this trick is how naturally it emerges. He doesn't sit down and plan to create exclusivity. It just happens because his subconscious is pulling him toward a space where he feels safe knowing he is set apart. He wants to be the one who occupies your thoughts in the quiet moments, the one who leaves an imprint even when he's not around. This deep psychological need drives him to act in ways that constantly push toward reassurance, that you see him as different, that you recognize his value in a way that no one else can replicate, and that the place he holds in your life is reserved just for him. When a man is completely captivated by you, one of the strongest psychological tricks that naturally surfaces is his tendency to exaggerate his strengths when he's around you. This doesn't always mean he's bragging or trying to come across as arrogant. It's often far more subtle than that. His mind is wired to want your admiration, to feel that you notice him in a way that validates his worth. And because of that, he unconsciously highlights the areas where he feels most confident. He may speak with more passion about his work, lean into his achievements, or even push himself to perform better when he knows you're watching. If he's at the gym, he'll lift a little heavier. If he's in a group, he'll contribute in a way that makes his skills visible. If he's telling a story, he'll emphasize the parts that show his courage, wit, or intelligence. All of this isn't about impressing the world, it's about impressing you, because your opinion carries weight in a way that no one else's does. This psychological drive comes from something deep inside human nature. Men are hardwired to want to be seen as providers, protectors, or valuable partners. And when they're crazy about someone, that need becomes amplified. Around you, he feels a constant pull to display qualities that prove he is worth your attention. He wants to stand out in your eyes, to be the one you see as capable, strong, dependable, or admirable. And while to an outsider it may look like he's just telling another story or showing another skill, to him it's a subconscious performance with one audience in mind: you. You may notice this trick in how he competes with himself when you're present. He may work harder, push further, or suddenly take on challenges he wouldn't normally attempt. He's not doing it for a crowd, he's doing it because the thought of you watching drives him to elevate himself. Even in conversations, he may exaggerate the passion in his voice, lean in more, or use body language that makes him appear more confident. It's not about being fake, it's about magnifying his strengths so that you see the very best version of him. Another sign of this is the way he downplays his weaknesses when he's around you. He may brush off mistakes with humor or steer the focus back toward things he excels at. It's not deception, it's instinct. His mind is running on the need to maintain your admiration, to keep the spotlight on qualities that make him stand out. If he knows you value kindness, he'll go out of his way to show generosity in front of you. If he knows intelligence impresses you, he'll lean into thoughtful conversations or share insights that highlight his depth. Everything is filtered through the desire to be admired by you in the areas where he feels strongest. It can also manifest in playful competition. He may challenge you to games, debates, or lighthearted contests, not just to win, but to create an opportunity to showcase his abilities. Winning in those small moments gives him the chance to impress you. But even when he loses, the effort itself is his way of saying, "You matter enough for me to give my best." This kind of behavior is less about ego and more about emotional investment, because a man who isn't deeply into you won't feel the need to elevate himself like this. It's only when he's crazy about you that the drive to exaggerate his strengths becomes almost automatic. The truth is, this psychological trick is not about pretending to be someone he's not. It's about amplifying the parts of himself he hopes you'll notice most. He wants you to see his courage, his capability, his wit, his resilience, because those are the qualities he believes make him valuable. His entire mindset when he's with you becomes focused on leaving an impression, one that lingers in your mind after he's gone. That's why he pushes himself harder, why he talks with more energy, why he performs in subtle ways that might go unnoticed by others, but are completely intentional when it comes to you. It's his subconscious way of saying, your opinion matters, your attention matters, and he's willing to stretch himself just to be the kind of man you admire. When a man is truly crazy about you, one of the clearest psychological signs is the way he invests energy into the smallest details about you. Most people forget little things that are said in passing, but when his feelings for you run deep, his subconscious mind doesn't allow him to. Every word you speak carries weight. Every story you share imprints itself in his memory, and he tucks away these details because you have become his priority. You might mention your favorite snack once, and the next time you're together, he surprises you with it. You might casually share the name of a childhood pet, and months later, he repeats it back like it was just yesterday. These aren't grand gestures, they're subtle demonstrations of how his brain has shifted to focus almost entirely on you. Remembering details becomes his way of saying, "You matter," even if he doesn't come right out and say the words. This psychological trick works because the mind naturally prioritizes what it values most. When he's around you, he's not just hearing your words, he's storing them, cataloging them, holding on to them like they're treasures. It's not something he forces himself to do, it happens because his attention is heightened when it comes to you. Other people's words may fade from memory, but yours linger because his emotions are tied to them. That's why when you think he wasn't listening, he proves he was. That's why when you feel like you were just rambling, he remembers every little thing you said. His feelings fuel his focus, and his focus translates into retention of your details. This kind of attentiveness shows up in both big and small ways. If you mention you've had a long day at work, he may circle back and ask about it later, even when you didn't expect him to. If you share that a certain song makes you feel calm, he might play it in the car when you're with him. If you hint at something you've always wanted to try, he may bring it up again weeks later to remind you he hasn't forgotten. These acts aren't just about memory, they're about intentionality. His subconscious mind drives him to prove through actions that he listens, that he cares, that you're not just another voice in the crowd, but the one voice that stands out above all others. There's also an emotional side to this detail keeping. When he recalls your words, he's not just repeating facts, he's connecting emotions to them. If you spoke about a childhood dream, he remembers not just the dream, but the way your eyes lit up when you spoke. If you shared a struggle, he remembers the tone in your voice and the way you felt in that moment. His memory becomes tied to your emotions, and that deepens his sense of closeness. It's not just about what you say, it's about how you felt when you said it, and he holds on to that because it makes him feel closer to your inner world. You may even notice him bringing up things you didn't think mattered at all. A random comment about your favorite coffee order, a passing mention of a book you liked, or the way you once described a place you wanted to visit. He'll bring it up again not because it's useful to him, but because it's important to you. This kind of recall is his subconscious way of saying, "I pay attention because you're important. I hold on to your words because they matter to me." And the more invested he becomes, the more these details stack up, creating a web of memories that keep you at the center of his focus. What makes this so powerful is that it sets him apart from others in your life. Most people might forget the little things, but he doesn't, and that difference is striking. His ability to remember and act on the smallest details about you creates a sense of intimacy that feels rare and special. It tells you that he's not distracted when he's with you, that he's not half listening or waiting for his turn to speak. He's fully tuned in, fully present, and fully absorbed in who you are. That kind of attentiveness doesn't come from casual interest. It only comes when someone is deeply drawn to you and can't help but make you the priority in his mind. When a man is genuinely crazy about you, one of the most undeniable psychological patterns that shows up is the way his protective instincts come alive. This doesn't always mean grand acts of heroism or dramatic gestures. It often appears in the subtle ways he positions himself around you, the little things he does to make sure you're safe, comfortable, and supported. His subconscious is wired to step in when he senses that you might need help, whether that's physically, emotionally, or even socially. If you're walking together on the street, he might automatically place himself on the side closer to traffic. If you're in a crowded room, he may gently guide you through or create space so you don't feel overwhelmed. If someone speaks to you in a way that feels dismissive, he'll subtly stand taller, shift his tone, or redirect the energy of the conversation to protect your dignity. These aren't rehearsed moves, they're instinctive, a reflection of how much he cares and how deeply his mind associates you with the need to protect. It goes beyond physical safety, too. Emotionally, his protective instincts drive him to want to shield you from unnecessary stress or pain. If he senses you're anxious, he'll find ways to lighten your mood or remind you of your strength. If you're venting about something that's weighing you down, He doesn't just listen, he positions himself as a source of calm and stability. He wants to be the place you can lean on, the anchor you can turn to when things feel uncertain. That need to be your safe space is not calculated. It's a deep psychological urge that rises when his feelings for you are powerful. He may not even realize he's doing it, but everything in his behavior shifts toward making sure you feel secure when he's around. Sometimes this protective side shows up in his attentiveness to small needs. If you're cold, he'll offer his jacket. If you're carrying something heavy, he'll take it without thinking twice. If you're walking in the dark, he'll keep an eye out to make sure nothing threatens your sense of safety. These gestures might seem simple, but they're rooted in a primal instinct to care for someone who means the world to him. When a man is crazy about you, your well-being becomes part of his responsibility in his mind, and his actions begin to reflect that without him ever needing to be asked. This instinct also spills into how he thinks about your future. He may not say it directly, but his choices begin to consider how they affect you. If he's making plans, he'll factor in your comfort. If he's taking a risk, he'll think about how it impacts you. Even in conversations, he'll reassure you in subtle ways that he can handle things, not just to boost his own confidence, but to let you know you're safe with him. His psychology drives him to prove reliability, because in his mind, protection is not just about guarding against danger, it's about creating a life where you feel consistently supported. Another layer of this instinct is how he responds when you're vulnerable. If you share a fear, he doesn't dismiss it, he absorbs it and tries to ease it. If you're tired, he'll look for ways to make things easier for you. If you're facing a challenge, he may not have all the answers, but he'll stand beside you to make sure you're not facing it alone. That consistency, that desire to step in whenever you need it, is a clear marker of how much he feels for you. His need to protect becomes a silent but steady language of love, showing you through actions what he may not always put into words. Even in the smallest of moments, his protective nature comes through. A hand on your back when you're walking through a crowd, a glance to check if you're comfortable in a room, a simple question like, "Did you make it home safe?" All of these things may seem ordinary, but when a man is crazy about you, they become second nature. His mind doesn't allow him to stay passive when it comes to your safety or comfort, because protecting you is how he shows his love without needing to announce it.